welcome to episode 79 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of the Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday morning on iTunes and SoundCloud, and topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. To catch updates about the podcast or for other news, give us a follow on your social media platform of choice listed in the description below. I am Mao, and it is the year of me. And I am joined by some other people.
Hi.
Introduce us, Mal. I had a whole spiel plan. You ruined it. You always ruin everything.
Wild card, bitches!
Yep. Yeah.
Sent him to the Shadow Realm.
I mean, I was gonna say he literally wildcard your ass, man.
Yep. I was gonna say Soren's back, baby. The best planewalker, the vampire that triggers my carnal desire.
That was odd.
Yeah, there you go.
Obsidian with his love of Soren.
We'll talk more about magic later, but all these planewalkers, I can't hold them all. They're fumbling like lemons.
Can't I hold all these planeswalkers?
Exactly.
Didn't that dragon just show up like not 2 sets ago or something?
He's been around for a long time.
Bolus stays around.
Bolus, you can't.
This is his like big finale. But
Bolus is the dragon that
neither
just keeps
here
on
nor
giving.
there. I'm also joined by Meta
Hi. How you doing?
and Tetsuo.
Hello.
Akira! Kaneda! Tetsuo!
How have all of you been? It's been a while.
Has been a while.
Been very busy. It's been
Yeah?
super busy. Yeah. Last
I-
week it has been immensely busy. I haven't had actually an evening kind of really to spare.
Oh, wow.
Work sucks. I know. She left me roses by the stairs. Surprises let me know she cares.
Say it ain't so.
I will not go.
Whoa.
Yeah, carry me home. Yeah, work is awful.
Sounds about right.
Yeah.
Even worse for you guys for other reasons, but
Yeah.
mine just working a lot. So and being
It's the
pretty
busy
busy.
season.
Yeah, it's one of our busiest times of year. So
Yeah, we're gonna be entering that season soon. I'm not looking forward to it.
I've been doing a lot of kayaking actually.
Oh, wow.
I got a kayak.
Really?
I've been kayaking on the weekend. It's been a lot of fun. I don't have much to say beyond that, other than sometimes I'm an idiot and go backwards and fall off of it. But
It's funny that you say that because my wife and I were actually talking recently about possibly trying to go kayaking at some point, assuming we could get somebody to watch the baby.
yeah, it's you can get a really decent recreational kayak for pretty cheap, and you can find them on Craigslist and stuff all the time. So you can probably find used ones for even cheaper. It's a lot of fun. I was out there 2 weeks ago for like 4 hours almost on the lake. So luckily, Chattanooga's blessed with tons of places to get on the water.
I can't say I've done kayaking myself, but I can say that I am gonna get ready to do some fishing.
Fishing is a lot of fun as well. I enjoy it. That's why one of the reasons my roommate got a kayak is so he can fish.
The wifey actually likes to fish too, so I can bring her along.
Really? I would have never took Lily as a fisher.
I know. That was really weird to hear, but she's like, "Yeah, I love fishing." I'm like, "Really?"
I only enjoyed saltwater fishing because it was like always, you were always doing something.
Well, we can't always live in sunny Orlando, Florida, man. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I mean, I lived in Lake County, so there were tons of lakes as well.
Yeah. Lots of them.
But that was always boring.
I usually
It's been a long time since I've gone fishing.
Yeah, me too.
I'll be honest, I never catch anything. I don't know if it's just like a curse word or something, but I just suck at it.
You're not fishing in the right spots, Meta.
No. So like, I would go. I got no.
Just the right way.
No, I'm telling you right now. I think it's just they don't like me specifically because I've gone with my dad fishing plenty of times. We go out. We'll get up early, ours in the morning before roosters have even woken up from their sleep, and we'll head on out to a lake and we'll get on the lake and he will set up the lines and whatnot because he's way more into it than I do, but I enjoy it all the same. So he sets up all the lines. He's got everything ready. We're going on there. He's got like bait, tackles, sprays, everything that you could possibly use. He even like looks into like what the weather's gonna be, how's it gonna stand with the fish and whatnot, blah 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 blah. Yeah, I'm like, we sit up on there. My dad will get hit after hit after hit. I get nothing, just nothing. He'll even put me in the better spot. He's like, this is a better spot, fish here. And I'm like, all right, if you insist, nothing. We've traded, I kid you not, a lure that's been hit thrice in an hour's time. We'll then trade fishing rods. They stop going after me and they go right to my dad's again. It's bullshit. They know.
They do know. We actually have a about an hour away. There's like a mountain stream that has a trout hatchery at the top of it. And all throughout summer and early fall, they release trout every weekend. So you can actually, and they let you keep them, so you can literally just go up there and catch trout to your heart's content. And
wow!
Like we went camping up there and like cleaned them and ate them, and they're really good, fresh out the river like that. So I
would love to learn how to clean a fish, just to know how to do it. I've never done it though, because we don't have any place around here that does catch and keep. At least that we've ever visited, I should say.
It's not too bad.
Nah.
Like I watched a YouTube tutorial and figured out how to do it. So
okay, is it a pretty quick process?
Yeah, once you get good at it.
Yeah, once
you're good at it. Yes. Yeah, I was gonna say.
Yeah,
when you're good at anything, it's really quick.
Yeah, like
do a lightning quick, basically.
Like it'll probably take you like 15 seconds to do it when you're pretty experienced. Probably depends on the fish too, but
that's true.
What would you say is a beginner's average time? What would you say that would be?
It took me about 30-something, 40 seconds, maybe.
Wow, it's that. Wow.
Yeah, it's not that long.
Holy
yeah,
you're literally just flaying each side of it, like
pretty much. You just cut the entrails out, pull them out.
Yeah,
pretty much.
Just gotta debone it.
Yeah,
you got it, and then just flay each side off the bone, basically.
Mm-hmm.
Nice. Yeah, I gotta try it sometime.
So yeah, what about you, Tets? What have you been doing?
Mostly been working on models when I'm not watching the little one. Actually, while I'm watching the little one too, if I'm perfectly honest.
Here you go. Hold this super glue.
Your little respirator on. It's time to airbrush.
Like the little mask.
He says that because I've been complaining so much lately about not being able to airbrush, because that's where I'm stuck on so many projects because I can't airbrush at the moment. And so, like, my backlog is being worked through, but only, like, partially. So, like,
do you not want to just switch back to, like, hand brushing, or is there a reason you really want to do the airbrushing or waiting for it?
Ooh, hand brushing can take a long time.
Yeah, airbrushing is way quicker.
And it also is much less smooth for if it was something like Warhammer 40K or D&D miniatures or something, hand brushing all the way. But on the scale that like Gundam models are,
it's harder to see the brush strokes to be uniform.
Okay.
Right.
Across the entire like chassis or something.
I did not know this.
Yeah.
So is it almost considered like mandatory then to learn how to airbrush if you're going to be doing Gundams and Gunpla and whatnot?
Only if you want to paint them.
Sort of a little bit, yeah. I mean,
and there are people who do hand brush them.
Yeah, and they can look phenomenal. Like if you, the biggest thing is getting your watering down of the paints like just right. So that way the brush strokes then level out after you like let it dry. But it takes more time to learn how to do that than it does to learn how to use an airbrush. Because it's a lot of practice and feel to get that
plus there are a lot of effects that you can really only do with an airbrush.
Yeah, that too.
I did not know that.
Yep.
Things I gotta learn. I like whenever
the
I'm
more you know.
Yeah, right.
See, you're learning about painting and gutting fish. I
am.
Yeah.
It's so educational for me.
One of these days I'll do a topic
I always doubt myself when I'm doing like paintings for like little figures that we just use for tabletop stuff. I mean, I'm not expecting to be masterpieces.
I'm terrible at it.
I'm so bad. Like,
there we go.
There's so much doubt on what I'm doing. I can't. Like, is this enough water? Is it not enough water? Do I need to water it down more? Is this the right consistency? Do I have enough on my paintbrush? Did I take too much off? I don't know. I just don't.
I'm like the same
There's-
way, and my roommate's actually pretty good at it. And I just go,
main
"What do you
tricks.
think?" And he goes, "Yeah, sure, whatever." I'm just like, "Come on, man, tell me more."
Tell me. Give me your secrets.
Honestly, there's two main things to keep in mind. The watering down to get it ideal, at least for miniatures, about the consistency of skim milk.
Man, I don't remember the consistency of skim
I don't
milk.
either. I ain't
I know,
drank
it
skim
sounds
milk
weird.
in forever.
Just if you look it up online, it's very easy to notice, and there's a wide margin of when it hits that point before it leaves that point. So for the most part, I do like I'll fill up a small pallet and just do 1 drop of water. That's usually all it needs.
Really?
Yep. And then, or if you ever use like Vallejo, I don't know what your main paint is, but Vallejo paint, it's like dropper bottles, so you can judge your dropper. So it's like 5 drops to 1 drop of water or something like that.
Oh, I should do something like I should put dropper tops on the paints that I have then.
Yeah, it makes things a lot easier for mixing proportions as well if you mix your own colors.
That would
Don't do that. Just throw them all together and then paint your wizards like Jace every single
then
time.
What am I gonna do? I'll put on one of those spinning sheets, right? I'll just put the finger on that, and then just like tie-dye the crap out of it.
There
Just
we go.
toss the pot. Just open the pot and just toss it as
Toss it in, shake it up a bit, and then throw it back out.
It's like
Yeah,
I'm
and then the
seasoning
second one
chicken.
is, as long as you hit each thing with the main color you want it to, then slap it with a wash. A wash will
Yeah, wash do
blend
make them
all
look good.
imperfections.
Yeah,
It makes
I
things
know.
Especially on like cloaks and stuff, it looks cool.
Get too deep.
But
I
anyways,
never remember.
Mal, segue
Anyways,
us.
that's
You're the
a whole
host.
topic in and of itself
Mouse!
that I can do.
Mouse,
And that was our first topic.
topic.
Mal, keep us on track. It's your year.
Well, I haven't been doing much. The only thing I've really been doing is playing Sekiro.
Sekiro!
Shadows die twice, so that will be my.
Kami-sama.
What if it dies 3 times?
Eventually, you
Eventually you do die 3 times, actually.
Well, then the titles are lying to me.
It should have been dies once, then the sequel dies
Sekiro,
twice.
Shadows die more than once.
Dies yet again. Tell us about Sekiro, Mal.
Yes.
Sekiro is a game made by FromSoftware, the same people who brought you the Dark Souls and Bloodborne.
And Armored Core.
Sure. and
Armored
Armored Core.
I just want to twist that knife.
Oh, you're mean.
If you didn't,
Yeah.
I was going to, just so you know.
I was gonna say.
Tets loves self-inflicted knife twisting.
Yep, and Kingsfield, and what they did a Tenchu game, I believe,
Which explains a lot here.
I
Right.
think they did specifically Tenchu Z. I think
they
was
did
it?
Shadow Assault Tenchu.
I thought they did. Yeah, hold a second. From Software Tenchu. Let's look it up. I think they did Tenchu.
Well,
I'm trying to find.
Nope, just Shadow Assault Tenchu comes up
Just-
on this Wikipedia.
Wow.
But anywho, this is, you can definitely tell it's a From Software game, and that it takes some of the things from the Soulsborne series, but it is definitely not a Soulsborne game.
yeah, it's very inspired by them, but
Yeah, like
the
yes, you
RPG elements being gone are probably what pushes it out of the subgenre.
yeah, it's more of an action adventure game with really no art. There's a little bit of, I guess, like leveling up,
Yeah.
but it's more just using skill points.
Mhm.
It takes place in the Sengoku period, and you play a shinobi known as Wolf, as he takes or attempts to take revenge on samurai who attacked him and kidnapped his lord.
Who's a little
Wow.
kid.
Yeah. I think you have amnesia, but it really doesn't.
That's
matter.
what it seems like to me so far, anyways.
It doesn't really come up much later. Much
it's-
after the start.
You get an interesting level based off of it.
Yeah.
Which is actually, I think, probably my favorite level so far. Is that whole
Yeah.
portion?
You do as you explore, you do find like the equivalent of bonfires from Dark Souls, which are sculptures.
Mhm. You get like your Estus shards and stuff
Yeah.
too.
Yeah, you get healing, refillable healing items. But like, yeah, the one of the biggest things is that you can't grind out levels to make the game easier, which
No.
has definitely been a sticking point for a lot of people.
Yeah. I kind of like it, just because it feels different. It offers a new challenge basically you could eventually overcome any challenge for the most part in Bloodborne or Dark Souls.
Really had you could grind forever.
You could just level like hit points and strength or whatever build you're doing.
Yeah.
But you have to learn like the boss's patterns and stuff.
Yeah, eventually you will hit a boss that you have to beat to keep progressing.
Oh yeah.
There's nothing you can do about it.
I spent 4 hours on one total thereabouts.
I love it.
There's also a stealth element in this game because you are a shinobi, and
which is awesome.
Yeah,
great.
You also
love
get a grappling hook basically to zoom about the level.
You zip zoodadding everywhere.
Yeah, which you usually use to get the drop on unsuspecting enemies and kill them.
And in some boss fights, you can use it as well.
Yeah, or at least many boss fights. So the combat is quite different from your typical Soulsborne in that you need to break through an enemy's posture, which is like a gauge that will fill up for you and your enemy.
Is the closest equivalent to it like the stamina meter? I guess
of like a reverse stamina meter, like it fills up instead of depleting.
Yeah, you don't get punished for just swinging your weapon around.
Right, you have no stamina, which is also a huge difference from the Soulsborne stuff in that you can just attack forever, at least until you get attacked back. And once the posture breaks, you can do a death blow, which you might have to do more than once for bosses and mini bosses.
Because they died twice.
Sure.
Some of them do. Yeah.
If you have to do death blows multiple times, I don't know if it's
usually it's blow. It's like what would be a death blow, but they're just like, that's just a flesh wound, even though you just
shove your sword through their sternum.
Even though your sword just went right through my eye into my skull, I'm okay.
I love the death animations, by the way. Some of the enemies have unique ones, which is great.
Oh yeah.
They're cool. They feel really visceral too.
They remind me a lot, actually, because we were just talking about Tenchu stealth kills.
Mm-hmm.
But I wish there was a little bit more of them.
I mean, there's a skill you can get to do them while jumping in the air, or while someone's in the air and you jump at them.
Yeah, you'll eventually get stuff. Yeah, you'll eventually get abilities too that you can do after death blow triggers to make give you a little bit more decision to make. Like, there's one where you can push R1 and it uses some of your spirit emblems, but it creates like a blood mist where you just blood spray everywhere and it becomes like a smoke bomb.
There's like the skill ones, like the blood mist. You've got the possession.
Yeah. So they did away with levels and they added skill trees, which there are more. Originally, they basically were like, it made it sound like there were only 3, and there's a little more than that. And you get because you end up with a prosthetic after the tutorial, which is how you have your grappling hook. And there's one based on that and doing more interesting things with your prosthetics, like maybe using them while in midair or being able to grapple enemies.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's your shinobi arts, which might make you more stealthy, or
I only have not one of those. It's the one where you get HP back when you do a death blow.
That's really strong.
I know, and it's like 5 levels too.
Just don't get hit, and you don't need it at all.
That's my thought process, Meta. Exactly.
How's that working out for you?
On some bosses, not so well.
Look, all I'm saying is you just have to know all his strings, perfectly block all his attacks, and you don't need any self-healing. It's no big.
Exactly.
Easy. It's easy.
So the combat relies a lot on deflecting, which is closer to parrying in Dark Souls.
Mm-hmm.
In dodging becomes less good because you can't really let up because of the enemies can regain posture. So if you let them breathe, you're just dragging out the fight and making no real progress. Other than you can also try and damage their HP, and the more HP damage they have, the harder it is for their posture to for them to recover their posture. So it's kind of a mix of trying to do some health damage so that their posture.
You want a good balance.
Yeah, and that's mainly a thing more for boss fights, since you can generally either attack enough or mix in a few deflects to take care of the little guys, or just stealth kill them, because they all die in one hit if you can do it from the stealth.
Killing the dogs is so satisfying. Because it's FromSoftware. They're not as annoying in this game.
No, they all die from one hit, which is real.
I love parrying a dog bot and then just like Iajitsu slashing it afterwards as a follow through.
Yeah, so the game wants you to be way more aggressive than what most people are.
Even Bloodborne, it feels like you want to be more aggressive than that game. And that game rewarded aggression.
Right. But this one has no penalty. Like, there's no stamina keeping you back.
Exactly.
Even when your posture breaks, most bosses will not capitalize on it. So it doesn't really matter if your posture fills up and it breaks, because once it breaks, it just resets. Like, you stagger for a moment, but there's almost no punishment for it. So you can just get back to, deflecting and fighting.
Freaking Yobe was OTGing me a lot. So maybe I should just not have had my posture being broken constantly. That was my problem.
And, like, it's so aggressive that once you understand, like, how to take on a boss, it will, like, the entire fight might just take 1 minute or something. But you've probably spent forever. You might have taken hours learning the moves that they use and how to deflect.
But it feels so good when you finally figure it out.
Oh yeah,
when you just trade blows and are parrying constantly and like going back and forth, it just feels like a sword fight duel.
Yeah,
so well.
Game has made me feel better about beating bosses, basically.
Yeah. I feel the same.
Like, it also, I've never been good at parrying in Dark Souls, so playing a game that relies on it so much, was, especially at the start, much more frustrating, and I'd have to go away and play something else for a while, which has made it difficult, because I think I'm been at it for 2 weeks now, basically, and I think I'm just in the last final third of the game, which I think I think it's around a 50-hour game for most people.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's a really long game. Jesus.
I'm already at 20, and I'm not even a third of the way through the game, so as far as boss count goes, I've only killed like 3 bosses, I think.
I think, depending on some things, it's around 10 bosses, so you're about around a third.
Yeah. Working my way up Mount Kingo, killing some Buddhist monks.
Yeah, Time to Beat actually has the main story at 26 hours. Which...
I've done a lot of sin grinding, also.
Yeah. There's usually a lot of stuff I've seen people say is like, there's usually a certain boss, usually it's boss number 3, but for some people it was other bosses, that the game kind of just clicks, and the game just kind of picks up from there, as far as your progression and your difficulty with other bosses.
Yeah, once you get a few memories and stuff, they start becoming a little bit easier to, at least the mooks in general.
Yeah, beating an actual boss, because there are a lot of mini bosses, but only about 10 or so actual bosses, which are bosses that give you memories, which you can then use to up your attack power. And then usually mini bosses will give you a prayer bead, though not necessarily all of them. And when you get 4 prayer beads, you can make a prayer bracelet, and it ups your posture gauge and health gauge.
Yep, so that's basically all the RPG elements you get. That, I guess, like the skill levels, but
and then you get skill points. But
those are your traditional souls or blood in quotes.
They split it in. You get money and XP, and then once you get enough XP to get a skill point, you start having to fill up the bar again. And when you die, you lose half of the XP of that bar and half of your money. and there's no getting it back like in Dark Souls. But when you know an enemy kills you, you get the option to revive, which you get back up with half your health, I believe, and
Correct.
you get another shot at. And then later in the game, you can actually get more than one revive.
Of course, those revives will lead to your allies getting dragon rot.
It's actually the revives at a statue that can spread the dragon rot, not the revives.
Really?
Yep.
Yep. So if you manage to stay alive, then you don't lose.
Yeah. Then the dragon rot chance doesn't go up because NPCs can get dragon rot, which will lower. So you start the game with 30% unseen aid.
Mine's like 4.
Yeah. Unseen aid is what if you end up dying and you're out of revives, you go back to a sculpture, and that's when you lose half of your XP and money. But the unseen aid, you will keep all of it if it triggers.
Yep.
And the more dragon rot you get, the lower it goes. As Ob said, he's only got 4% of receiving unseen aid.
I've died a lot. I've seen that death kanji many times.
You can get rid of the dragon rot on the NPCs. Because any NPC who has dragon rot, you cannot further their quest.
All because of Dr. Wafu.
And I believe only 2 NPCs can actually die from dragon rot, and they don't have a big quest moment. So you're not really penalized for the dragon rot, except not being able to do side quests. And some do have ties to one particular ending, so you want that ending, you kind of have to keep them healthy. Yeah, and the level design is amazing, I think. Like,
once you get to the castle, the castle is really really cool. Once you figure out how stuff loops back, and
yeah,
I think that's what I was saying to Mao a few days ago. I was like, it's just really satisfying exploring and figuring your way back to an area. And I know that's been in a lot of the FromSoft games, but it feels even more so in this because you'll like see an area like the castle from the outside, then you'll go inside and explore it and see how it just branches and goes everywhere. It's just really cool.
Yeah, and you can even end up going to other locations, though eventually there will be a boss choke point that you have to clear so that you can keep going down those other areas. But it's not just super linear. Especially, basically, once you beat the third boss, the game really opens up. To more than just go to this one point as your objective. The story is also way more like traditional compared to
it's less
games.
It's less a find the lore hidden everywhere game and more like a here's the story
to do something
exactly.
You're being told for story reasons why you're doing it. And there are some decisions to be made during the story.
Yeah, you're the vassal of Samurai Kid. Save him and do his bidding.
Yeah. The bosses are quite more. There's way more variety than I originally thought there might be. It's not just all samurai dudes. There are some like beast type enemies.
A bull with tatami mats on its horns lit on fire is my favorite so far.
Also some supernatural ones.
Okay, that's cool. I haven't seen any of those yet.
In the trailer, there was a giant snake.
Oh, yeah. No, I've seen him. Yeah.
Like, so some just stuff from Japanese folklore. It's so good. Like, everything just ties together very well. And then the one thing I also like is that your prosthetic, you get tons of ninja tools, I believe they're called. Like shuriken or the flamethrower or a spear.
Firecrackers.
Shinobi tools.
Firecrackers, yes. Those are probably the best tool in the game, I think.
Those are the ones that I
Almost-
think stun like a wide cone in front of you, right?
Yeah.
Yep.
Well,
Yeah,
it tells
right.
you that it's really good against beast enemies, but it's also just really good against a lot of samurai type enemies too.
Yeah,
That
especially
will
when
get-
there's like 2
will
or
get
3
stunned
guys
for
on
a
you,
little
you just throw them out, and
Yeah, and they all have upgrades eventually. That can be upgraded in multiple different ways.
yeah. Rather than upgrading your weapons, a lot of the materials you find are for the
Yeah, for
shinobi
your
prosthetics.
tools. And most bosses usually have 1 or 2 tools that are they're like weak to, basically.
Mhm.
So
Mega
yeah,
Man 'em.
it's
Encourages you to experiment.
interesting. Yes. Not to just stick with one tool or something.
I love the umbrella. It's probably my favorite
I
one.
don't think I've ever used the umbrella.
I just
actually.
like the way it looks. It's
yeah,
cool.
it is cool. You get an umbrella that you fold out and use as a shield.
That's pretty sweet.
Yeah, the game definitely it encourages exploration and trying new things.
Yep.
Uh,
Yeah, you find a lot of the, or a decent amount of the prosthetics just by looking around, exploring.
Yep,
Sometimes
and
there'll be
talking
vendors
about
hiding,
stuff.
chests. Yeah, people. I love. One of my favorite little subtle things is when you sneak around, you can eavesdrop on people and get information from them. And they'll
Yep.
tell you stuff about like where an item is hidden or a boss's weakness, or you are shinobi, so you run around, you collect intel, and it helps you with the game. It's just a
That's
nice,
cool.
cool
I
little
like that.
touch. Yeah.
Yeah, like early
Yeah.
on, there's a particular enemy who you will there's a group standing next near the enemy, and they're like, if you eavesdrop, you find out they're weak to fire, and then you can actually buy information from a merchant who tells you how to get the flamethrower. So yeah,
Mhm.
they put a lot more into the story side of things this time.
Yeah.
And you can play you can just try and roll in as stealthy as possible, or you can like just
There are a lot of
if
mini
you're
bosses you
if
can
you're-
get the jump on too, and it
Yep.
makes them a lot easier.
you take off 1 health bar basically out of usually 2, and or you can run in and try and kill everyone.
That's really hard to do.
It is hard, but it is possible.
Yep.
Just go full mob too.
I will not fight the monks like more than one of them
No,
at once.
But like
they
the
wreck
typical
you.
samurai guys, I tend to just end up cutting
Mhm.
through them now because stealthing can take a long time.
Yeah. The
And while you're doing a death blow, you have iframes. So
Yep. The I was saying this earlier, but I think my one complaint with the game is the camera and the lock on.
yeah, it wouldn't be a FromSoft game if the camera wasn't your enemy as well.
Exactly. Once you get in like indoors and in some narrow areas, sometimes it does stuff. Or if you're like running around dodging enemies, sometimes it will just unlock from them.
Yeah, especially if they end up directly behind you for some reason.
Yeah.
They'll just forget the lock on and you have to redo it.
Which is annoying, but it's not unsurmountable.
No. Yeah, each boss also sort of like kind of reinforces certain levels or ideas about the game. Usually like how reminding you that you should be deflecting a lot, or
Yeah.
that running away is not necessarily a bad thing.
Mikiri counters. It's like, hey, you should probably get that Mikiri counter skill. Because I'm going to thrust on you every opportunity I get.
Yeah,
Or,
the game is a little. I don't know if it's a translation thing or what, but like some of the stuff they say, like I think they tell you that thrusts are uncounterable, or unparryable, but you can actually deflect them.
Yeah, it actually says that in the tooltips. You can apparently you can perfectly deflect them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I think
I've-
they,
you
I
can
think it's
do.
a lot tighter, but
I've
I wonder
actually
if that's
seen.
like something from the like a hangover, like it originally wasn't.
yeah.
It might have been.
I've actually seen a lot of people complaining about like just the translation in general, the people who actually speak Japanese or whatever. So maybe it's just like something that got mistranslated in the menus, possibly.
There's a lot of lines within the game itself. If you're listening to the Japanese, where the lines in the English translation are not even remotely close to what they're actually saying.
Yeah, I've seen lots of funny examples of it from people who speak Japanese. So
Yeah,
I am playing on the dub. which I'm
You
sure you two
would.
are playing. on the sub.
Yeah, I'm playing
I'm
on
playing
sub.
on the sub. I'll probably play on the sub the first
Oh,
one.
Kami.
Really?
I was gonna say a lot of people actually do think the dub is pretty good, like the acting quality.
Oh, the acting sounds fine.
It's great. Yeah.
The first boss is amazing. Like a lot of people are like, he's way more, just got way more gravitas than the Chinese version.
Mm-hmm.
So, he's also become a bit of a meme.
Oh, show. I haven't seen any memes of him.
Nah.
Oh, don't worry. You're there.
I've seen lots of funny like cat girl memes about like Wolf thinking about the cat. Some cat girl or something. I don't know what that might be a reference to something later on. Maybe he meets like a Neko spirit or something, but it could just be random nonsense, but I've seen it a lot. Oh, Kami.
Also, it's completely offline, so you can pause. And
Yay!
there's no random people showing up to wreck your day because you decided to go online.
This makes me happy.
Yeah, there's zero PvP, which I mean I know is good and bad. Because the Dark Souls can have a lot of good PvP in it, but it's also like you don't really get a choice. Like if you want, it's an all or nothing with being online sort of a thing. So this is they just took that away entirely. They also said you can summon. There's certain NPCs you can get to help you, but I've only found that in one situation.
I have as well, and he didn't help that much.
Is it that one dude when you face the giant
drunk dude?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. It's so good.
I love it.
Like
as well.
my adrenaline will just end up spiking real hard at times.
Yeah. I thought Kingdom Hearts 3 was going to be hard to top just because it's Kingdom Hearts 3, but
Gameplay wise, this is definitely.
Oh, this is far. Oh, no, there's no question.
Kingdom Hearts has got very floaty combat. This game's got like really strict stuff.
Oh yeah, this game's super sharp and responsive. So
this game, like this game makes you feel so good about accomplishing things.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I've ever like felt better about being bosses than I have in this game. Especially the one that took me like 4 hours. I was like,
I thankfully
finally
have not had to take that long on any boss.
Yeah, I don't know what it was about him. It just I couldn't figure it out.
Clicking.
Yeah,
I got lucky.
Yeah,
This is what I told Mal.
Generally attacking until they perfect parry you, which is where you see the bigger sparks off the sword, is and then just immediately getting ready for their attack to perfect parry them is just where you want to be especially the sword fighting.
Yeah, I had to learn that being aggressive is actually the best defense in this game.
Right.
Instead of, I was trying to play against him very reactively, and when I started getting more aggressive against him, I started doing a lot better. Just standing in his face, hack, parry, hack, parry,
Yeah, I was
Definitely.
doing the same thing at the start. I was ending up just like doing perfect parries, and that's fine. But I'm like, man, it really feels like I should probably be pressing this R1 button. Maybe I'm missing something.
Yeah.
And then then you learn it's like, oh yeah, they'll perfect parry you and then go right into attack potentially. And then if they do, you can just immediately perfect parry them. I'm like, well, this makes a lot more sense now.
Yeah, and dodging is not always the best offensive option in this game because I think they purposely said they increased the tracking to make like because they wanted you to parry, basically to learn that you have to parry.
No
Everybody's a
iframes
heat-seeking
in
missile.
dodge, or no iframes in a jump and way less iframes in a dodge than from the Soulsborne.
Yeah, like that boss I'm talking about will do like a jump in the air attack. And you will dodge, and he will literally like home in midair and like turn and still hit you.
Seeking missiles, man.
Yeah.
Drop kick from the ogre, dude. That thing will fly across the map.
Yeah.
You're gonna end
Boom!
up spawning, and
He's
that
coming
ogre's
in
gonna
like
come out of
Hulk
nowhere.
Hogan.
Amusingly, they then have after the third boss, which really teaches you about pairing, is basically why they're there. The boss that can end up being either your fourth or fifth, depending on the path you take, kind of teaches you that you can't always do that. Also,
The bull taught me that.
I think it's the longest boss fight of the game just because of the attack patterns.
Yeah.
It's just
Freaking bull.
The
The
bull is
bull
easy. Eventually, like if you can stun lock him, then
there are tricks.
Yeah.
There's tricks to every fight.
From what I've seen for like the bull, is just apparently just a lot of like dodge, run in, slap, slap, dodge, run in, slap, slap.
Yeah.
And that doesn't seem.
Mhm.
I feel like that might be doing the fight wrong. Like maybe I'm wrong on that assumption, but that kind of feels like the whole game. That's kind of like the last thing to do, and it just seems really weird. Like just a fight of like slap, slap, run away, slap, slap, run away.
You can also use your firecrackers to stun it for a bit. And, I can't remember, but I think there's something else that you can use. But yeah, it's you can also parry it, but I think it has to be more of a perfect parry.
Yeah, you can parry like one or two of its attacks, but yeah, you have to perfect parry them or you just get run over.
It seems that beast enemies usually are harder to just be super aggressive with.
Yeah. So anyone with a weapon.
I'll have to practice when I get to that point on him and see what I can do. So,
But yeah,
he's a fun boss fight because I love not Sir Not Man. Eventually, this is probably one of my favorite bosses too. Also, just because he screams Robert as he falls and dies. But
how does it compare to Neo? Like, because
Neo's way closer to a Soulsborne game than this.
Yep.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay.
This is way more just action style.
Neo's a lot more. Gameplay wise, yes. Neo also has a lot more supernatural stuff, at least so far.
Gotcha.
The biggest thing I like, because I play an assload of Neo. The biggest thing I've felt like just from the short run on Sekiro is that Neo is a little bit more flowy in what it does and whatnot. Everything kind of feels loose. Sekiro feels a little bit stiffer when it comes to like when you an attack or you jump, you're kind of dedicated to that, and there's essentially a bit of a delay from with attacks and whatnot. It's very precise.
Yeah,
you can't really cancel out of stuff.
Attack canceling, I believe, to some degree.
Oh, is there? I haven't noticed any.
I remember people talking about it because Dark Souls is none like that.
Yeah, that's what it's felt like to me so far, but maybe I just didn't know about it.
FromSoft has always made it like you learn the patterns so that when you press a button, you are committed to that button press, and you can't really change your mind after you've pressed it.
Yeah, I will also say that like Neo also had kind of the the dodges were definitely I don't want to say that they kind of, I mean, they pull from, Dark Souls, so to speak, but the dodges are super quick, super nice. And Sekiro has obviously, dropped down on that, so that's not really saying much, but
yeah.
I would just say Neo is just very heavily, it's very flowy. Like you can generally have you feel like you have a lot of freedom to respond to certain things into certain situations. Sekiro is kind of like, you've laid your cards down, you're committing to it, and that's kind of how it is, but you will be rewarded for doing it right.
Get ready to push that R1 button.
Yeah, I don't know, like, yeah, it's very rewarding to be able to read attack movements from the enemy, especially bosses. Like, I don't even know how I'm doing it sometimes, but it just kind of, like, there's a sub-level that's processing the information that I can't quite figure out. That's like, oh, this twitch this way, I better get ready to block it this rhythm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And just figuring out tells, because a lot of time when they do their quote-unquote unstoppable attack, or whatever the game calls it,
perilous attack.
Yeah, they'll take like multiple stances, so then you gotta learn like which one's which. Yep. That was another thing I had to figure out fighting that boss, so... Yeah, it's good. It's really good. It's going to be hard to top for me. I'm just going to say that about every game as it comes out, I guess. But yeah,
I'm excited to try it.
It's going to be hard.
I guess we got to wait and see what Persona 5R is, right?
That doesn't count, really.
Very different genre.
For nostalgia reasons,
it is, but
for me. But I don't see any game being able to like top the feeling of like mechanically with this game.
Like I think this will top it for me. Just overall, in general, it'll top Kingdom Hearts 3 for me. I loved Kingdom Hearts 3. Don't get me wrong, but
yeah,
that was almost more just like the. It's the culmination of like games I've been playing since I was a teenager. So
you've been waiting for it so long, you cannot allow yourself to think badly of it.
I've been waiting for 13 years, 13 Xehanors. So yeah,
Jesus.
Yep. It's almost like he did it on purpose.
How about we move on to Meta's topic?
Well, I'm also going to talk about something that kills you a lot on the inside and out.
And involves samurai?
No. I kind of wish I could have hit. I know I did.
Oh, finally, I thought we were going to hit Sudoku as a concept in the 21st century. Crap.
Sorry, man.
Not today. We can't cross that bridge today.
I couldn't hit the trifecta. But that doesn't mean it's not without its lack of three beautiful things. It's a series that just came out pretty recently, actually, called Love, Death, and Robots. Just premiered on Netflix.
I have no clue what this is, so
it's about
happy to listen to
I have slightly more clue of what this is, but not much.
Oh, have you? I was about to say,
I started watching this the other day.
It's really good.
We've got the full menagerie.
You got the phone. All right, so for those of you who don't know what something new that just came out is, I mean, like, what are you, living under a rock or something? It just came out. Like, you should know everything about it. Yeah, right. No, but so essentially, Love, Death, and Robots is a conglomeration of small short stories. Yeah, it's an anthology. Small short stories put together, animated from a number of different studios and whatnot. Some of them repeating in there just because they have a lot, I guess, to do. And then put in and post it up, and you can watch all the different episodes, which can cover from a number of different topics and whatnot. Most of them are pretty much just like a short story that you read. They kind of tell a little tale, then there's a cool twist, and then that's pretty much it. And then you go on to the next one. Some are better than others, obviously. Some are very short.
Oh, cool.
But it got a little bit of everything for everyone. If you only care about reviews and numbers, then Rotten Tomato, the average tomato meter gave it a 75%, but the average audience score was 90%. IMDb gave it an 8.8. It's out of, I guess, 35,219 reviews. So there you go. Depending on what you define or what you like and whatnot, it will also change how you decide you want to see an anthology. If anthologies are not your thing, then obviously this is probably not the thing for you. If you love short stories and like to see something that generally runs anywhere from between 6 to 17 minutes of runtime, then this is definitely the thing for you. And they cover a lot of stuff. They cover from, well, I mean, I guess the title gives it away, but they'll cover anything from the future to sci-fi. Not so much fantasy, but there are elements of fantasy in there.
So is Love, Death, and Robots, is that like the main theme that runs across throughout?
I'm getting some horror vibes.
No, it's
is there like a main theme
there really
that kind of pulls them all together?
No, there's no main theme. There really is just like opening up the big book of short stories and just reading whatever short story they put in.
I mean, a lot of them have robots. Death is a pretty common theme in a lot of the episodes.
And then there's definitely love in a number of them too. Yeah. I mean, so they are there. They are prominent points, but it's not generally always a thing. It's not. There's not like an actual theme that covers everything and kind of like pulls it all together. It really is just a set of short stories.
Well, like, give us an example of some of the stories. Like the first one, I really enjoyed.
Yes. Well, just to jump back real fast. I mean, technically, if you were to go to the Wikipedia, they do state in the premise that the series title refers to each episode's thematic connection to Love, Death, and Robots. But I would say that, like, I mean, those are just all elements of each of these stories, and since they're all short stories, they kind of we're gonna normally run that kind of gambit anyway.
I mean, let's be honest. Every good story has Love, Death, and Robots in it.
I was gonna say that's pretty much the point.
That is kind of the theme of this episode. So there we go. Actually, I think all of our topics have.
Sure.
Sekiro has
death,
love
death. For duty,
love for your
love
lord,
for duty.
Lots of death. He has a robot arm, technically.
Right, but there are no robots,
as far as you know.
Well, but not all the episodes are robots out and out in this.
He's a cyborg, Mal. He's a cyborg. He's half robot.
So to get you into the biggest one, So let's go to the story. Like it just is like Tess said, like real fast here. Like the first episode is called Sunny's Edge, and it's essentially set in kind of this cyberpunkish future setting, where individuals of a certain nature join kind of these groups to do genetically monster underground gladiator style battles and whatnot.
It's
And
dogfighting with mini kaiju.
yeah, pretty much. That's really what it is.
Oh.
And there's a lot of money to be made out of this. There are people who do heavy betting and whatnot. It kind of has vibes from like all those older boxing movies where it's like you just gotta throw the fight, bruh, and then I'll give you a big payout. And they're like, it's about my pride and that kind of stuff. And that's kind of like where it gets to kind of like that. It gets
Pretty
that
soon
kind of
there's one guy in the crowd going, Adrian!
Yeah. So the first movie, I mean, the first episode really is that kind of theme and whatnot, but it's essentially these individual groups, these three people and their monster, and they're getting ready to do a fight and whatnot pretty soon, and they're visited by the twirling mustache villain type guy who's like this rich dude who doesn't really care about anything, but he asks them to throw the fight, even though they've been super successful, specifically because they think that it might be because that the main character she's lived through a very harsh life, so she's kind of got that edge that you need to win, so to speak. But obviously he tries to buy them out, say, I want you to lose this fight, and they decide to toss him away, and he's like, okay, fine, I can't convince you. It goes into the fight, and I won't spoil any more from there, but you can obviously guess that there's more to than just what's going to obviously be a normal matchup and whatnot. But what makes it so great is the small twist at the ending, literally right at the ending, that gives such a much larger perspective and kind of really opens up to you as to why they are so successful in an area that generally individuals like them would not be successful in this gladiatorial combat. And that kind of really sets the tone for the rest of them, where they generally have some twist or a little surprise that expands on something. Some of them are better than others. Some of them have nothing really, any twist at all. But you can generally see them in some shape or form. I will recommend for a personal favorite, absolute favorite, is Beyond the Aquila Rift. That is the one I would recommend if you watch none of the other ones. Watch Beyond the Aquila Rift. It's awesome. It's really good. Otherwise, I would recommend the first one, Sunny's Edge, because that's probably one of the better ones too.
Oh, interesting. A bunch of them are based off of stories.
Yes, they are actually. That was a number of them are based off of actual stories written by.
Well, Sunny's Edge specifically is based off of Sunny's Edge by Peter Hamilton.
Yes. The story of Beyond the Aquila Rift is written by a story called Beyond the Aquila Rift by Alastair Reynolds. You'll notice that they're based, if you go to the Wikipedia, you'll see that a lot of them are based on stories. I think there's only 2 or 3 that might be not based off of an actual story or just original concepts. The Witness is not based off of any story at all. So that was a unique one. And Blind Spot is not written by anybody beforehand, so this was just them doing their own thing.
Yeah,
I'm looking forward to suits just off of the description here on Wikipedia. Small community of farmers pilot mech suits to defend their land from an invading swarm of insectoid aliens.
Yep, it's pretty good. They're all good.
I like all the different animation styles.
That's so Tetsucore. Yeah. I'm just going to start referring to stuff that's like Tetsuo's aesthetic as Tetsucore.
Tetsuo. Yeah, there are a number of different animation styles prevalent. Even certain a number of studios do show up again. Like Blur Studio shows up a couple times. And
do all of their episodes look similar, or is each one different?
No, they're almost always different. There are some that use what is essentially what I don't know if there's actually a term for it, but what I call photorealism, where it's essentially everything looks like it's realistic, but it's also CG. But they went really high into high intensity graphics for it, so it might give some people the uncanny feeling, the uncanny valley feeling. But I never noticed the person.
Oh no!
Yeah, but yeah, there's like a lot of them really to show up. Like Sunny's Edge and Suits. Certainly you can see kind of where they come from, the same studio, but in certain regards, but they're very different styles, and they're both made by Blur Studio.
That's cool.
Yeah. So it's nice to see that they don't repeat those.
Yeah, I've not really ever
fundamentals.
seen this before in video form. Like I've seen plenty of anthologies in manga or short stories, but
Yeah. It kind of actually, it really reminds me. It kind of gives me the vibe of like scary stories to tell in the dark.
oh
Yeah.
Oh
book.
yeah.
Yeah. That's kind of what it's like. There's just a lot of short stories in there, and you get to kind of watch them. They just all share, in some shape or form, as close as you can be to, I guess, what they say the theme is: be love, death, and robos. But yeah, it's a wonderful little trip. The whole thing altogether is not long.
I was
You
gonna
can
say
get
adding it up is probably not.
it's probably maybe 2 hours ish.
Oh wow. Yeah, I was like, I saw one was like 6 minutes. I was like,
Mhm.
Yeah, the longest ones are 17 minutes, and there's a number of those, but
yeah. I think only one was 6 and one was 7.
yeah, like I mean, let me see here. Yeah, 18 episodes. Some of them can jump to 17. Some of them are, one of them is like freaking 6 minutes long. They're not. Although you'll probably get this around 2 hour marker for these bad boys. Probably longer. It might take you 3.
Mhm.
I don't know. I would have to do math.
I'm doing
So-
the math right now, actually.
Are you? You're
Yep.
on it. You're on it.
Stretch
So-
for time.
3.7 hours.
Oh,
There you go.
almost
That's not
4
bad.
hours.
Almost called. Wow. I was
That's like
half
4
off.
That's like
Definitely
3 and
nail
a
it
half
in, like-
episodes of Star Trek.
I would absolutely recommend it if you love short stories. Because there's no like consistency between them. There's no like continuity between them and everything. You can just pick it up when you want, watch an episode or two, and then go away and do something else. Or you could be like me and eat it all in one sitting, like it's a giant bag of potato chips.
That is probably what I'm
Typical
gonna do.
Netflix.
I haven't fully it yet.
That's generally how I
Let
view
binge
content.
watch.
I binge everything. I
Also-
I can't come back to it.
Yeah. Like I want to just dive into it. Like that's why I've been kind of putting off getting into it. And
I would
I
just
don't-
say, yeah.
I don't think it's something my wife will enjoy, which is part of the reason why I've been waiting to like have a moment. But we now with the small child means she doesn't really leave the house as much. So
Hey, it's definitely a good watch with the wife. Or by yourself. I will say I think the funniest one is the 3 robots, which is the second.
I've seen a lot of
episode.
gifs of that online.
It's everybody. That's the thing that actually my English. Just can't pick up on my letters. 3 robots is actually how I learned about it because somebody had a picture of it up there and like I really wish they make just a whole series on these guys and I was like, what is this? And then that's how I saw Love, Death, and Robot whatnot. So yeah, people really love that one. It's a very funny one. The robots are very entertaining to watch. They kind of just wander the world and learn about it. So, but they're all good. They are all good.
Watch Black Mirror. Do it.
What is Black? Just for reference, I don't know what Black Mirror is. So
Black Mirror. Yeah, it's on Netflix. It's like the Twilight Zone kind of, but with technology is the focus. If you like the same kind of like mini series esque, like every episode's its own story, but with a more like bleak kind of outlook on stuff, and with the twist like typical Twilight episode.
Yeah.
Twilight
So
Zone episodes have.
Kind of clinical doctoral way that Wikipedia says is that it examines modern society, particular with regard to the unanticipated consequences of new technologies. Episodes are standalone, usually set in an alternate present or the near future, often with dark and satirical tone, though some are more experimental and lighter.
Yeah. The first one is actually probably the darkest episode of the whole series.
Honestly,
Yeah.
the first one's why I've never watched it. Like,
That's how my friend is. He watched it and was like, I don't want to watch this show. And I was like,
I didn't watch the episode. I just read the description. And I was
yeah.
like,
I've Meta, it wouldn't bother Meta, is my
Nah.
prediction. I think it would turn you and Mal off, though.
I like dark stuff. So
Well, it was
Yeah.
like one of those things. Like I couldn't quite put my finger on why I didn't like it. Like it wasn't
Yeah,
any.
I
There was
don't wanna
nothing
spoil
out
it.
about it that turned me off.
It's very different from every other episode of the show, too. It's weird. I mean, I guess maybe it was a pilot, but I don't know. We've kind of veered away from the topic. I want to talk about Black Mirror at one point. Maybe when someone else has seen it.
I think it's definitely a good way. I think it's definitely a good comparison because if Black Mirror is a much bleaker thing to look at, then I would definitely say Love, Death, and Robots is really not bleak. So
yeah,
if that's not your
thing, and it doesn't look that way either. The miniseries aspect, like maybe like a good example without spoiling much of an episode. There's like Ron Howard's daughter is in one of the newer episodes. The whole episode, basically, people have social media apps on their phone where they kind of like rate exchanges with people in like business. I mean, it's kind of like a Yelp review or something, but it's tied to you as a person, and your kind of like social status is based off of it. So the character is like obsessed with obviously having the high score because she gets more money and gets to live in a nicer place based on like her social work on this app.
There's actually a community episode based around that.
Is it really? Okay. So there you go. We're connecting it all.
But okay, well we know we found out what Tetscore is. Now how about Obscore?
Yeah, what is Obscore?
What's
all right
today?
Edginess, I think.
Well, yes, but if you want, okay. So let me pretend to be a Byronic hero and like, oh, everything has to be edgy. I love this stuff, but I really got like a soft, underbelly. I just want to be like cuddled and taken care of. Here's that side of Obscore. So I think it was last week, Mao posts a trailer for a new upcoming game. I'm like, oh, what's this? What's the name of this? I think I've heard it somewhere before, but I've never actually like seen any gameplay of one of these or posts or like look into it. So I'm like, oh, I'll watch this trailer, and I proceed to watch probably like the most obscure thing ever that's probably marketed to me. I'm going to talk about Project Sakura Wars. Sakura Wars.
What is Sakura Wars?
Okay,
for us enlightened folk.
Project Sakura Wars is a Sega license IP, I guess.
Yep.
There have been 6 according to Wikipedia. I don't know if this new one is counted in that, but
only one has been released in the West.
Yeah, only one has come out in the West.
For the PS2, and that was the last one to come out.
And it was in 2008. So they are tactical role-playing games with dating sim and visual novel elements in them. It's like Persona-esque if it wasn't a turn-based JRPG. It was a more Fire Emblem-y tactics ogre battle style game.
JRPG.
Yeah, like, so the games are basically, they're kind of like steampunky alternate history games. This new one, which is for right now, is just Project Sakura Wars. Takes place in the Taisho period, and it's apparently a soft reboot of the series, which is good because we get to kind of start off fresh for the second English
it's been,
game.
Over 10 years.
Mm-hmm. So the story synopsis so far, where's the main character's name? I just had it and I lost it. Seijiro Kamiyama basically becomes the leader of a military division called the Imperial Combat Review. I think it's an all-female, because of course it is. It's a dating game. So it's an all-female military unit, and you're going to deal with alternate history stuff, I'm assuming. They haven't really said a lot about the story or the details, but you're kind of like leading this unit, and it's called Sakura Wars, so I assume there's going to be some kind of war. But the trailer has robot fights. It's got anime music. There's apparently, did it say over 70 anime or over 70 J-pop songs where like every like voice actor gets a chance to like have a character song and stuff. I kind of love that stuff in anime games personally, so that's like a very obscure like aesthetic right there, because I love like Macross and stuff.
The team aimed to have the largest number of vocal themes of any Sakura War games, ranging from 70 to 80.
Yeah, so holy moly. The game will have anime cutscenes. I can't remember, I saw somewhere what studio was doing them. I have another article pulled up, but most importantly, the characters are designed by Tite Kubo, Mr. Bleach himself, and it did. You guys realized immediately. It didn't hit me till I saw his name. I went, you know what? The main character looks like
it's Ichigo.
He looks like a Kubo character because they all have swords. He designed, I think, all the characters' outfits. He talked about wanting to give them traditional Japanese clothing because this takes place in a fictional version of the Taisho era of Japan, which is, I think, World War I Japan. Oh, 12 years after. No. It's 12 years after the last game. By the way, the last game's synopsis here. In 1920, players control Shinjiro Taiga and all the female New York combat review. Their main objective is to save New York City from being destroyed by the main antagonist, Oda Nobunaga. So there you go. That's like the kind of alternate history funny stuff you're getting into. The 3D models are really cool. It says in this interview that Bleach creator Tite Kubo recommended Masashi Kudo, who worked on the anime of Bleach, to help render the 3D models. He said if anyone can do it, it's Masashi Kudo. I'm reading a interview summary on Gamatsu.com. Let me quote that property.
Apparently, they are between 50 and 60% complete with development.
Yep. I think winter 2019 for Japan and sometime in 2020 for everyone else.
Womp womp.
The script writer is Takaki Suzuki, who's known for Girls in Panzer. So he's done a lot of stuff with alternate history type thingies. Let's see. Anything? Apparently, there's a Great Combat Review World War, which is a great global sports festival for different countries. I think each girl in the game is actually from a different country that's in your party and the military unit as well. Even though they all wear kimono of some sort. And of course, it's Kubo designing the characters, so they're in various states of undress because it's Kubo. Graphics are full 3D.
The game will feature over 40 minutes of anime cutscenes.
Yep. You got I think it said it has some open world elements. I guess that'll probably be how you go in between missions and stuff. You obviously have your trust levels where you build your friendship or romance with some of the characters. You can either, I think it says you could avoid romance altogether if you want. You can kind of role play Seijiro in different ways. You can make him more of a romantic or more of a goofball. And yeah, I mean, there's not really a lot to say about the game because it was just revealed, but for a series I'd never heard of, I just watched the trailer and went, this is so marketed towards me because Persona 5 is one of my favorite games.
Into your bloodstream.
Yeah, I love the Trails of Cold Steel, which is dealing with military stuff, is a very heavy focus of the story, and it's also got the visual novel elements. I
just want your visual novel dating sims that also feature RPG combat.
Pretty much of some sort. That's you want it to give tets. If you want to market a game for tets, you put giant robots in it of some sort, whether they be dinosaur or otherwise. And he loves his ultimate open world elements in his games too. Mm-hmm. I just love strict JRPG
You just want
gameplay.
To be the biggest weeb.
Yeah, I'm the weeb overlord, man. That's what I needed to change from the GM and overseer to the weeb master podcast of Fire Rings. So yeah, this is just a perfectly marketed to me, and I kind of want to go back and play the other one now if I can find it on. I think I found out it wasn't on PS3 store, but I'll verify that. That's at least me just browsing the Wikipedia article. But these are apparently really popular games in Japan, and I had heard of it, but just never looked into what they were. And they've had anime,
2 short animes and a movie. And...
yeah, they've had spin-off games. Yeah, they just never got localized really over here. It didn't take off for some reason. So there's actually been a lot of it seems like a growing, like, what's the word I'm not attempt, but like, I guess Japanese companies are more comfortable with getting more obscure titles localized, because you have the Trails games, like, it took off in a big way in the past few years. Now they're going back and they went back and localized some of the older Trails of games. So some of the more obscure, like, JRPG stuff is actually starting to get some international releases, which I'm glad to see. I love JRPGs. They're my favorite genre game.
I think Persona 5 had a lot to do with that, honestly.
Yeah.
With just, like... Because everyone thought it was going to be super niche, and then kablooey.
It might be the most well-received, like, critically and commercially, JRPG since Final Fantasy VII.
Really?
Like, I'm trying to think of one that was very well, as well-received as it was.
And then, and then even
maybe
Monster
10?
Hunter also has found new life in the West, and I think other companies are just realizing, hey, maybe we can do it.
Yeah, maybe we can localize some of this stuff. Give me Bahamut Lagoon, or whatever it was for SNES, the game that's supposed to be really good that never got localized. You have to get the fan translation. Put it on the Switch eShop or something, Nintendo, or your little subscription service. So yeah, it's not going to be out till 2020. I'm going to get some more of my obscure JRPG goodness later on this year when Trails' Cold Steel 3 comes out, which I'm really looking forward to as well. Hopefully Code Vein, we'll see that too. But man, I'm just glad to see more JRPGs coming over, and especially ones that are just such what I'm looking for in a game. Give me waifus or give me death. That's all. That's all I have to say. And it's cool to see, like, Kubo attached to something else, because he hasn't really, since Burn the Witch.
Well, yeah, basically since Bleach, he hasn't really done anything.
Yeah, he hasn't done much of anything. I like Kubo. People give Kubo a lot of shit, but, he's cool in my book. There you go.
All right. Well.
Say the outro, Mal. Say it.
This has been episode 79 of Podcast of Five Rings, your source of enlightenment in the realm of video games, tabletop, anime, film, and tech. Each episode of the Podcast of Five Rings releases Monday mornings on iTunes and SoundCloud, topic by topic, day by day on YouTube, with the full video releasing on Friday. We got
you can't. We never pinned the social media, did we?
I never remember which part to read.
Twitter, Podcast 5R, Facebook, P5R Podcast. Check out Meta and Lily's stream at twitch.tv/PSO. Where are you guys streaming?
We've been streaming Chocobo's Dungeon.
Oh yeah, you've been having fun with that?
Yes, we have. We're not sure what the next game's gonna be though. After that, not sure. I might stream a little bit of Sekiro, but I don't know if I just want to stream it or not.
Yeah.
That might be
distracting.
Yeah. But anyways, we'll be back soon. What we got on the dock? We got some War of the Spark coming up.
Yep.
I can't wait to see the Code Geass movie. We got Avengers coming up soon.
I'm going to 2019 see Shazam, I think, this weekend.
Yeah, I've heard Shazam was really good. I might go see it this weekend too if you're going to see it. I've heard nothing but good things about the movie, actually.
It looks fun.
The Joker movie I actually think looks like pleasantly surprising.
Oh, I have zero interest in seeing that.
I don't think I'm going to see it in theater at least, but it's just kind of, I was like, this doesn't look bad. But anyways, so yeah, 2019 is, we said, would anything beat 2017 in video games? That's yet to be seen, but, 2019 is looking pretty good all around. So, we're going to be busy bees with all this stuff. Just all this content comes rolling in.
Yeah.
So, alright, we'll see you guys later. Till next time.
Later.
Goodbye.